And we are live. Welcome, everyone, to the Melanin Initiative. I'm Dr. Kimberly Madison, a doctorally prepared nurse practitioner and one of your co-hosts here at the Melanin Initiative podcast, along with Alicia and Geraldine, who send their love in their absence. In healthcare, there is often too much information and not enough time. Here at the Melanin Initiative, we avoid TMI by breaking things down into language you can understand. We create a safe space for you to ask your questions and share a nursing perspective without taking up too much of your time. Super excited about today's episode. It's part of our continuing series on faith or finance and medicine. I just filmed some episodes on our other series, Faith and Medicine. And we're joined again by our special guest, Glacia Cooper, who happens to be a nurse as well as a financial expert. We've seen her before in a previous episode where we talked about the basics of financial literacy as well as life insurance. And today we're going to delve a little bit deeper into the relationship between healthcare and life insurance. Before we get started, just remind you about a few things. Remember, this show is for educational purposes only. The opinions expressed here are our opinions alone. They are not a representation of any of our affiliations. If you're experiencing a medical emergency, you should seek medical attention and medical guidance from your healthcare provider. If you think you're having a physical emergency, you can call 911. If you or someone you know might be having a mental health emergency, you can call 988. Well, Glacia, welcome back to the Melanin Initiative.
Thank you very much.
How are you?
I am great. I'm very good. How are you?
Wonderful, wonderful. We have so much to cover, so let's just jump right into it. Real quick, in case some people haven't watched your first episode, if you can just give them a brief introduction about who you are, what your background is, and what you do for a living.
So my name is Glacia Cooper. I used to be a nurse for over almost 3 decades. So I actually transitioned in the financial services industry because, I was, looking for something, a different careers, something else to do, because I just felt like nursing didn't fulfill me as the way it did before. So right now I am a life insurance broker, and I also help families with protecting their hard-earned retirement.
Well needed. And you're based out of?
I have an office in Georgia, a physical office, but I could work anywhere in the world, actually.
Very sweet. And actually, you mentioned before you were a travel nurse. I didn't know you did traveling. You did share with me that you're an OR nurse and that you still work PRN. And I was telling her nurses will find a way to keep those skills.
Yes, that is true. It's like a paranoia. It's like I want to let go, but I can't let go because I'm just fearful that I will lose my skills. All my life it has been like that.
How long did you travel?
I traveled for 2017, 5 years.
Oh, that's significant. What was your favorite place?
I actually liked California.
Oh, everyone's dreams come true in California, and then they don't.
No, I did like it. Yeah, I like the different weather patterns that they had, stuff like that. I was in San Francisco for a while, and I loved it there in the summertime. In the summertime, it was so cool. You actually needed a light jacket. The summers in San Francisco, I didn't know that it was that cool.
I went there once in October for a race, and I was very shocked that I was cold.
Yes.
Especially if you haven't ever been there, you just think all of California is like, hot and sunny.
Yes, I used to believe that way too until I went to the San Francisco Bay Area. It's pretty cool all summer.
Certainly quite different from Houston and Georgia.
Oh, this is a over and over year. It's a total contrast.
Well, great. Well, let's jump right into it. Let's talk about the relationship between life insurance and healthcare that you see kind of on a day-to-day basis.
Okay, so the relationship between life insurance and healthcare. So as a nurse, you know, uh, patients come to you when they're sick, right? And you have to nurse them back to health, right? The parallels that I find between life insurance and nursing is that in life insurance, I actually try to catch people before they get ill because life insurance company love life insurance companies love healthy people. Yes, if you're healthy, you're gonna get a better terms of coverage, that's for sure, than somebody else your same age group, and it's gonna be cheaper for you if you're healthy. Is that's just it. So I catch people. I try to catch people before they get ill because unfortunately, a lot of times you educate people, and they said I'm going to think about it. But honestly, what is there to think about? Like seriously, what is there to think about? Because life can happen in a moment. I could be sitting here with you right now, and I walk out the door, and then you heard Glacia is gone. That's the way life works, you
Mhm.
know. And so yes, so that's one parallel. But when it comes on to life insurance and health, the um the health insurance company look at several factors when an applicant applies for life insurance. But one of the main thing they look at is our health. So, like I said, life insurance company like healthy people because think about it. If you have underlying conditions, it's not that in all cases they will deny you, but your coverage is going to be higher because they see you as a risk, right? And they
Mhm.
don't want to take on that risk. So, yes, you're going to have to pay more. And there is a organization called the MIB. I don't know if people are aware of it, but it stands for Medical Information Bureau. And when an applicant applies for life insurance, what this bureau does is it's a nonprofit organization, and it provides information on insurance applicants' medical histories. So it gives the insurance companies access to a database containing, medical information on people who have filed for life, health, or disability insurance. And like I said before, the healthier you are, the more is it's more likely that you'll be approved. I'm not saying that, if you have underlying conditions, sometimes depending on the situation, you could be denied because of your health. But in some cases, they may still give it to you, but you're just going to pay a higher premium.
Yeah, I think that rings true when it comes to healthcare in general, that it's more expensive the sicker you are. One thing we spent a lot of time on this podcast talking about is primary care, because we're trying, it's all focused on prevention, screening, identifying those risk factors so we can get you treated early, or maybe even avoid some things that would put you at risk for those high premiums. So I love that you brought that up. And so that's part primarily why this show even exists, is that we're trying to save people money. We're trying to save them time and help them avoid going to the hospital. And if they end up there, maybe help reduce how long they have to stay. One, because of their level of health, maybe they've invested a lot of time in preventative measures, but also because of the language. They know how to ask questions, they know how to navigate the system, and maybe they don't have to stay as long if it's medically indicated. Previously, you had mentioned that you get a lot of questions about whether or not people who've had strokes can get coverage. Can we talk about that a little bit? Because one of the risk factors for stroke is high blood pressure. And that is actually the inspiration of the show, is that I came to realize that people don't learn about high blood pressure anywhere. And so, yeah, it kind of inspired the show to begin with. And so we have had a few episodes talking about high blood pressure as well as stroke. And so I would love to continue that conversation by answering that question that you get so often on not only stroke patients, but you kind of did touch on like those pre-existing conditions and healthy. So if we could talk about that, because when you say healthy, does that mean no diagnoses, or is there like a list?
Yeah. If you could get life insurance if you have diagnosis, but if you have a underlying diagnosis, it's not in every cases that they won't give you life insurance, but it depends. If you recently have a stroke, they're not gonna give you an active stroke. They're not gonna give you life insurance. That's for sure. Cardiac disease, cancer, you're not gonna get life insurance. Uncontrolled hypertension. Yeah, I mean, it's uncontrolled. If it's controlled, yes, there's a possibility that you can, get life insurance. They're not going to deny you life insurance, or even diabetes. If it's controlled, you can get life insurance. But let's say a person in your same age group um, that doesn't have this kind of issue, your policy is going to be more because you're more of a risk. But you could still get life insurance, and it depends too and how long was the illness, because there's some life insurance company are a little lenient than others, and they will give you coverage depending on if it's over a certain time frame that you had that particular type of illness. Yeah.
And is that something you guide your clients along when when you take them on as a client? Is that how you help guide them through that
Yes,
process?
that's how I help guide them, because if I personally don't know, I'm not going to tell them something that I don't know. So I will go directly to the carrier,
Oh,
and then
okay.
I will speak to them and find out, because sometimes the company may be flexible on certain things, but you don't know. So you can just tell the client or potential client that no, this is not. If I know for sure, I will. But if I don't know, I just go to the carrier and ask them.
Okay. So speaking of clients, what does that a visit look like with you? So say I'm listening to this show, I go to the website, I want to schedule an appointment. What happens after that? From the time I schedule an appointment till I visit you, and then maybe follow up.
Are we talking about like so typically what happens is we talking about follow up? Are we talking about like me educating the client?
Like if I have my first appointment with you tomorrow, after that, will I see you again? Do I have access to you? What if I have more questions? I guess like what's that relationship like?
Oh, in my opinion, life insurance is a relationship building kind of. I love to build relationship with my clients. So let's say I see you on a Zoom call, because typically the Zoom call are in person. That's the way we educate our clients. So after that, I am keeping in touch with you, because we have to wait. Typically, it depends on, again, it comes back to health. It depends on how healthy the individual is. We usually tell the clients it could take up to a week to 2 weeks for you to get approved. But I have had some really young, healthy patients that get approved instantly. They could get approved instantly, or they get approved within a couple of days. That's a total different scenario. So we typically tell them, because the thing is, a person can tell you that they're healthy, but you don't know. You know what I'm saying? They could tell you whatever they want, but we don't know for sure what they say is true, right? So we just typically tell them, you'll hear from us within we'll hear from the carrier within a week or two. So I have access to the site. the carrier side. So I'll typically go on there every day because, like I said, there are cases where they can be approved. Sometimes when at the end of the application, you could see it's an instant approval. Sometimes it may be a day later, depending on the person, or yeah, a couple days for like I said, the clients that are. So in that case, we usually take like their bank account information from them and stuff like that. So let's say our client comes, they get educated, they decide to buy life insurance. We typically tell them it takes a week or two, but also nothing's gonna happen to you. Nothing happens to the client's account until the insurance company approves the policy. So the account is there just sitting until you're approved within the next 24 to 48 hours is when they will start, taking their premium out of your account. So that's what we tell them. So I try to keep on top of this information because so I usually get an email from the company. That's how I know that they're approved. They send me an email and say, hey, this because sometimes they send it an email and it's not updated yet in the system. So I get an email and then they said your client is approved. They tell you what they're approved for because typically we usually apply under the standard rating for all clients. But if the client is very healthy, they could get a higher rating, right? So depending on what the email says, I send them, I give them a call. I like to call them. But if I know like they're at work or something like that, I send them an email or I send them a text. Congratulations, you're approved. You're approved for life insurance. And sometimes like if the rating changes, like I said, I usually use the standard rating. And for the younger, healthier clients, they usually get a better rating. So they like that. I'm delivering good news. They like the better ratings, and it's less also. So, because recently I had a client he was going to be paying $100 a month for almost $1 million life insurance, but then he came back. His rating was top tiered. They went down to 60 something dollars. He was happy. He was very, very happy. So yes, the situation, the relationship doesn't end after, after that. Then I we usually I usually note my client's birthday. I make a note of their birthday, and when the birthday comes around, I am like texting them, "Hey, happy birthday! Hope you have a wonderful day," stuff like that. And then every year we do a review. We meet with the clients on a yearly basis, and we do a review because life, people's situation change. It can change, and you're supposed to be. It's good not to be underinsured, and it's good not to be overinsured. So you want with life insurance, you want to protect all your assets. So let's say a year later, we meet for a review, and the client bought a house. Then the important thing is to up the insurance because God forbid you pass away, you want that asset to be protected. So you would have to increase it. So yes, we I keep in touch with my patients.
Oh, that's
My
wonderful.
clients, sorry, patients.
Oh, I didn't even catch that. I was like, yeah, of course, yeah. When they do that annual review, is there a chance that the premium could go up or that they could be denied continued coverage?
No, because the I personally, well, the type of policies we put our clients in, I'm very mindful. Usually, let's say they have a 30-year term policy. That policy that they have it for 30 years, that premium will never go up. It stays the same. The premium will never go up. For the next 30 years, they're locked in. It will never go up.
And is term the same as temporary?
Yes, temporary. Sorry, yes.
No,
Term came from the verb to terminate.
Oh.
Yeah. Term, terminate. That's where that came from. But yes, it's the same thing as temporary.
Okay. And then you mentioned the health, like finding out their kind of identifying their health risk. So am I supplying that information by filling out a form, or do I have to get a physical?
No, things are in the past. That's the way I understand it used to be. Because I remember when I got life insurance, but then I'm a older lady. So yeah, no. What typically happens is we take what is called an intake sheet. There's an intake sheet where we ask the individual, basic information like name, age, your address, that kind of stuff. Who or your beneficiary? Who you want to be your beneficiary? That kind of stuff. You ask about, like, do you have any underlying medical illness? Do you take like any medications? That kind of stuff. And of course, like their bank account information, their address, stuff of that nature. So there's an intake sheet. Once the person agrees to purchase life insurance, yes, that's the next step. We do an intake sheet where we get all that information. Your doctor, who's your primary care, that kind of stuff. And then we have that on file. But in regards to so like the life insurance company, like that medical information bureau that we spoke about previously, they life insurance company have access to your medical history. You can tell me X, but they're gonna search. So
Okay.
let's say they search your medical history and you're young and no issues. Then you really don't have to do any blood work or anything like that. But let's say they search your medical history and they realize you recently went to a doctor, a specialist, or something like that, and they did some tests on you. They realized that there's some abnormalities. Then they're gonna require blood work. But it's not in every case. If you're young and healthy and the medical file doesn't flag anything that you find, you don't have to do anything.
Wonderful. Wow, that was really good to know. And so you mentioned one of the things that you specialize is in helping people protect their asset in their retirement. And, a lot of times retirement is a reflection of our health, right? How much we've invested in it, right? We can either
Yes,
traveling
true,
the world, or we
true.
picking up prescriptions every day, going to doctor's appointments, which happens to a lot of people. And so if we could talk about, when should people start thinking about working with a retirement specialist?
Honestly, me personally, if I could do it over, and if I knew now if I knew now, how do I say? If I knew then what I know now, I would have started with a retirement specialist right away. I would have started. So I would encourage people, no matter what the age is, start as soon as you get a job, as soon as you start working, start in your 20s. The younger person, of course, we know they're not got they will not have a lot of assets and stuff like that. For people who don't have retirement, start where you are. Put it that way. you know. But for the younger person, just start working. They're in their 20s, they don't have much asset accumulation and stuff like that. It doesn't hurt to speak to somebody. At least speak to somebody, get that information, get an idea of what retirement products are out there. Get an idea of just get the information, and then when you're older, you could you acquire more assets, then you could begin to modify, but just get the information and start there. That's what I would tell a younger person. And there's some, yes, so yeah, basically, yeah, start by just getting the information.
Okay.
You're young, and
Yeah, and so often, when it comes to retirement and aging, almost none of us say we want to live in a facility and be taken care of by other people. But we know that still a significant number of people do spend retirement and their and aging in facilities. And I think a lot of people are surprised to find out that in order to afford to stay in those facilities, they pretty much have to kind of get rid of everything they own. And so is that something that you assist them with in terms of like kind of putting together all their finances?
can you repeat? I'm sorry.
So a lot of times when people want to move into a facility, maybe they don't have any family or they're not able to care for themselves, and so they're going to move into an assisted living or even a nursing home. But in order to afford to live there, they pretty much have to sell everything they own and have. So basically, they take all their assets and cash it in to stay in those facilities. Is that something that's within your purview in terms of helping them kind of get those living benefits?
Well, with those people, I would refer them to an expert, because there is something called an annuity that actually covers long-term care. So I will refer those people to an expert, and then they could tell them more about that.
Is that a life insurance expert or like a financial advisor?
It's more like a retirement specialist that, but they have more expert in that kind of stuff, expertise in that kind of stuff.
Hmm. And
Yeah.
so do you just Google annuity?
No, within our company, we have those kind of individuals with those kind of expertise.
Oh,
So, yeah,
okay. So a
yeah,
referral, you would kind of get referred to them.
yeah.
Oh, okay, excellent. And then how should people prepare for that first meeting?
For me personally, I try to make the meeting seamless. You know, typically these people come to us because they were referred, right? So a lot of times, um, I first like to text. I got there's a number they're referred. I get a number. I prefer to text first to figure out when is a good time that I could call them, because a lot of people don't like to answer numbers that they don't know. And the number is three, and sometimes even the person that refers them, they tell us, please text before. So I usually text because sometimes they're at work. I don't want to call disturb, so I get a date and a time that works best for us. And then after that, I get on a phone call with them, and then on that call, I am figuring out, what are their retirement needs, or whatever their insurance needs. What is it? You just basically try to figure out what are they trying to solve for, right? And then you also try to figure out if you are a good fit. Are you able to give them what they're looking for? You have to, because they may be looking for something else that you don't provide. So on that phone call, I'm trying to figure that out. And also, it also gives me, it also tells me how I can approach the educational session, because you get to know more about them and what they're trying to look for. So if they say, I'm trying to, or solving for retirement, then you ask them a lot of questions that is retirement based, right? So you ask them. Some of them, they come to us, they already have some form of retirement plan in place. So you ask them, how much is it? What is it? It is basic questions. When was the last time you looked at it? A lot of people have, depending on what it is, a lot of them come to us, they have 401k. And most of the time they said, I don't look at it. I just keep it over there. I don't want to see it. But I don't know. That's the wrong approach, though. You have to be on top of what you have. This is what you're working for 30, 40, 50 years. You have to make sure it's protected. You have to keep yourself on top of it, so that you could at least get educated about where to move the money so that you don't lose. And then when because I'm telling you, we're all gonna get old. Life insurance and retirement is things that we gonna have to deal with at some point or the other. So if they have any form of retirement, I'm asking them all those questions. And most retirement companies that we're going to get their retirement from, they usually get statements every quarter, stuff like that. So I on that call, I'm telling them, bring those statements with you, and together we go through those statements, because a lot of times, like I said, they don't look at these statements for years. They just have it there. They don't even know what they have. A lot of times I ask them questions on the phone. What do you have? Well, I don't remember. I don't know how much is in it. I don't even remember the name of the company and stuff like that. What is the allocation like? Is the percentage growth? Is it growing? Do you like what it's doing? They can't answer because they just leave it there. And we have been taught not to look. But no, we should look. We should look so that we can make better decisions with our hard-earned retirement. So yeah, I encourage them also to bring the statements, bring a notepad. I also tell them, think about some questions that you may have, and write them down. Write them down, that when you come to the session, uh, you have questions because we want to answer them. So we really sit down with our clients, and we really educate them. Yes.
Yeah, I think we brought up I think we brought up some good examples of some questions they can ask. And so in terms of credible resources, is there like a national organization or foundation we can direct people to so they can kind of go to Google and get actual information that is is credible?
So because I'm an insurance broker, and I work with multiple insurance company, over 25 of them. I usually send potential clients or clients information directly from the insurance company. That way, they're getting insurance that information that we know is credible. Okay, so with and also they could get their information also from the um the the their insurance personnel, because these people should be knowledgeable too. But honestly, there's a lot of information out there, and on Google. They could get information from Google because the internet has changed. But I always tell them, make sure whatever you see out there is it's the same thing, like what you get from the insurance company. Also, the insurance company website. So also they can actually go to the carriers themselves. People don't realize it that, even though, the middleman between them and the insurance company. You could actually go directly to the insurance company yourself. So that's another way for you to get credible information. You get it directly from the insurer. I send them information directly from whatever company they're interested in buying. That's where I am going to make sure they get proper information. I encourage them. You could also go to the source directly yourself if you want. Some of them prefer that we call, but they could go directly to themselves for themselves, and then they could ask us questions.
Oh, okay. Now those in terms of like deciding whether you should go directly to the carrier or work with someone like you, how does someone determine that?
Um, Typically, what I notice is that most people prefer to come to the middleman, because we really sit down with them and ask and educate them. With the carriers, yes, the customer service is there. You could ask a lot of questions and stuff, but it's sitting down with somebody and educating them about something is different from you going to the carrier and asking specific questions. They will answer you, but our approach to really sitting you down and educating you, I think the clients prefer it that way. And a lot of times they prefer if we go to the insurance company and talk on their behalf anyway.
Hmm. So kind
Yeah,
of like an advocate, which we talk about a lot here on the podcast. You're kind
yeah.
of a liaison. You have the language, you build the rapport, and for a lot of people, that's very comforting.
Yes, yes.
Before we close out, anything else you want to share in regarding healthcare and life insurance?
For me, the goal is to educate and to protect people's hard-earned retirement. So the goal is to educate people about life insurance and retirement, and the goal is to ultimately protect people. People need to know that you know there are other avenues that they could use to protect their hard-earned retirement, and people need to be aware of the new type of life insurance for sure. you know um, a lot of people also, I realize that they don't realize that children can have life insurance as early as 2 weeks old.
Hmm.
hmm so that's another way that I'm educating people, trying to, because a lot of people come to us when it's too late. Like it's too late. They come to, I have this lady, she came to us in her 70s. That's gonna be expensive. I'm trying to, like get people to be more aware, more vigilant. But you need life insurance when you're young. Why not buy a policy for your child when they're young? Because it ultimately give it to them like a gift, because it's gonna be cheaper. Because most of the time, kids don't have any illnesses, and they're very young, so it's gonna be cheap. As opposed to waiting until they're in their 20s, 30s, 40s, it's gonna be more expensive, you know. So people are not aware that they could actually buy life insurance for their kids as soon as they're born, 2 weeks old, as long as you got a social security number, you know. And then the same index universal life policy can be used. You dump money into it, it compounds, it grows. When the child reaches 18, she has that individual, depending on the coverage, has enough money to go to college, tax free by that time. Because after 10 years with the index universal life policy, it's tax free, penalty free. So if the child decides that I want to go to college, money is there. The child decides that, well, I don't want to go to college, but I want to start a business, money is there. The child decides I want to buy property and invest, the money is there. Because it's not used the way our regular retirement is used, like a 401k. After 10 years with the index universal life policy, you could use the money to do whatever you want to do with it. It says at that point, after 10 years, tax free, penalty free. It's not used the same way like a regular, like a, let's say a 401k. As with the 401k, the money is growing, but it's exposed to market loss. With the IUL, the money is growing, it's not exposed to market loss. So your money is compounding and growing, it's not exposed to market loss. But the 401k, you got to wait until you're 59 and a half if you don't, for you not to get penalty. With the IUL, you don't have to wait until you're 59 and a half, So it's a beautiful thing, if you could give it as a gift to your children, So that's what I would also, because with 401k, you also, even if you wait till 59 and a half, the government still tax it. You still got to pay taxes because you never paid the taxes before with the 401k. So at retirement, they're going to tax it.
Yeah, you really highlighted some really important benefits. And I like that you talked about people coming in their 70s, kind of waiting really late, because we see the same parallel in healthcare where people wait till they have pain or something has gotten so far advanced that the options are much more limited. They're going to be more stressful and they're going to be more expensive. And
Yeah.
so, that again kind of highlights our theme for today, which is the relationship between healthcare and life insurance, as well as health literacy and financial literacy. They go hand in hand. And oftentimes those conversations, those topics are not part of the same conversation. And I think they should be. Right? Because you can have a wonderful investment portfolio, but if you don't have your health, it's not going to mean anything. It's going to go all to those expenses.
Yes, I don't know. I don't know of what is it that people. I mean, I know, but I still say why people gotta wait. It's kind of like when you're young, you don't think about retirement because you think it's so far away, right? And then when you're young, again, you don't think about life insurance because you're thinking, I'm young, I'm healthy, I don't need life insurance. But we gotta help people to change that, like we got to. Like through education, and we just got to be on them and help them to change that, because if anything is sure in life, that is that illness is retirement. You don't want to be old. You don't want to be old and run out of money in retirement. That's not a place you want to be. It's not a place you want to be in.
Well, thank you so much. This was another educational episode. We packed in a lot of content. And I think the most important thing we did today was really encourage and inspire people to have those conversations and really sit down and think about how they're spending their time and their money. And now they know who they can reach out to. Because a lot of times it's just about, how do I get started? Who do I talk to? And what is that relationship going to be like? Are they going to make me feel safe? Are they going to not make me feel stupid? Because that's one reason people don't ask questions or ask for help, is it's like, well, maybe I'm 50, maybe I'm 70, maybe I'm rich, and I still don't know this information, and people think I should, and I'm embarrassed to admit that I don't, and so then I don't get help, but I still need it. And so hopefully we've been able to make that more comfortable. We've provided some language and some questions that people can just start with, whether it's with their friends and family or an actual expert. So I thank you for coming on again. Everyone, I'm trying to encourage her to create her own books, to start her own podcast, to do some e-courses. So leave comments leave some comments telling her, yes, we want you. We need what you have to offer. And of course, she already knows that she has a huge target audience out there. And I love the fact that you're coming with expert knowledge in finances, but also nearly 30 decades in healthcare. That is a rare combination, and it's it's a niche. It's a pocket of the market you can really capitalize on because of that gap in knowledge. And that's something I think we both share passion. We're passionate about decreasing that gap in knowledge and increasing awareness. So
That's
how
for
do
sure.
people connect with you?
So I'm working on my website. Don't have one yet, but I'm on LinkedIn, Facebook, and Instagram. So my Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn names, they're all the same. It's my first and last name, Glacia Cooper. Also have office based in the Georgia area, in the Peachtree Corners area. So for the people who are local, they could actually come to our office, and get educated that way. And also on Tuesdays and Thursdays, we actually open our offices to the public, and they come in and get to know about what we do, get to see the environment, the culture, get to immerse in it. It gives them a sense of knowing that we are real people. It's not a scam. Make them feel more at ease. You know, take away some of the anxiety.
That whole familiarity, because again, so often in our community, we trust more in the mattress and putting our assets there than we do to going to those buildings. So I'm so glad you pointed out that people can come just get familiar with it. Sometimes that's all it is, right? Because right now it sounds like a big place that people are going to talk above my head, take my money, and I was told not to trust anybody like that.
Yes, true.
Yes, that's really nice that you offer that. And you also told us before that even if people aren't local to you, they can still benefit from your services via Zoom.
Yes, yes. I do a lot of education via Zoom.
Wonderful. Well, just to recap, today we talked about healthcare and life insurance. We talked about the relationship between the two, how working with a specialist, what that experience looks like as a client from start to forever. And then you come back and you have those annual reviews, which is really important, actually. I think you won't feel forgotten, and you can really feel like you're part of this family. We talked about when to start thinking about retirement, which is pretty much as soon as you get that job, and how you can prepare for that first meeting, as well as learn more and get educated about what the process really entails and what your contributions will be like. I love that we spent a lot of time talking about health and how your health is really going to be a reflection of the amount of life insurance you receive, as well as your premium. And we provided some credible resources. We love social media here. We love Google and the internet because it's a great canvas for creating stories and sharing information. But it's really important that we recognize the difference between credible information and information that's not credible or backed up by data. And so we spent some time talking about that because it's very important when you're making decisions regarding your health as well as your finances. So thank you, Glacia. It was so lovely having you on. I can't thank you enough for taking this time out to share your expertise. Oftentimes, we can only get access to this if we spend money. And I know that you're going to get hit up and people are going to reach out to you. You were really patient. You were very gentle in your approach. You didn't use really big words, and we were able to follow along. And you can really see how passionate you are about this. And you thought about all the little details, texting people when they're at work, finding out what works out for them, bringing them back in, inviting them to the office. You don't hear that language, and so you were able to bring that to this conversation. I think it's going to make a big difference, and you really humanize the industry, at least for me, which is something that you don't really think about because, yes, the scamming part, I think that is a big thing people think about when it comes to life insurance, and you really help to address those myths.
Thank you. You're welcome. Yeah.
Well, everyone, remember you can send your questions to tmi.melanin@gmail.com. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and follow us on Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook. Please share this show with your friends. Rate us on Apple and Spotify. It really helps the show grow and get the message to the people who need to hear it. You can find our social media links and any resources that we brought up today in the description box. We release a new show weekly for TMI Tuesdays at 10 a.m. on YouTube and all your favorite podcast apps. Follow, like, and share our content with all your friends. Thank you, everyone, for watching. We'll see you next time.